Hey, you guys, to repeat along, the most targeted citizen. Recognize the big cash register behind me. If it's not familiar to you, you haven't been watching very long. The saga of stolen Harley Davidsons. Not a fun life to live when you're a good guy. When you're a good guy, you get taken advantage of by every entity. When you're a targeted individual, you are screwed from the word go. I told everybody a couple weeks ago that I finally got the judgment in my favor, signed by the judge, everything's ready to rock. In that, my attorney, when he wrote up the judgment, left off the part where the thief owed me $1,100 cash. My attorney this is the same attorney for 6 years that has done nothing. Filed a case December, January 2015, 2016. He didn't file the first piece. Now, he told me he had already been filing pieces of paperwork the whole time. Got all the way to 2019 when the statute of limitations was almost out. Right at being out. Then he finally files something. Now, the whole time, telling me, oh yeah, everything's going on, everything's fine. So when I got the judgment, I told him beforehand, before he turned it into the court, I said, let me read it, sir. Let me look over the judgment to make sure it's fine. Okay, yep, we'll do. Day of court. We got to get it done. So he left off the little matter of $1,100, which is desperately needed right now. So just took a trip to the cash register and if anybody needs to know the process, feel free to let me know. I can tell you what goes on in the state of North Carolina now. I'll tell you that when you're in the middle of the process, nobody will tell you anything. I tried to research now, and again, this is targeted individual. Every time I tried to research what paperwork, what documents, what I needed to do, the computer was hacked and it would go nowhere. Anything I researched from my phone, from a home computer, anywhere that I looked to find the information on what paperwork, the exact numbers of the paperwork, I couldn't get anything. And when you go to the clerk court and ask them and say, oh, I'm sorry, sir, we can't give legal advice. And I'm like, I don't need legal advice. I just need to know the piece of paper that I need to file to do this. Give me that piece of paper. Nope, can't do it. This has been one of the most taxing emotionally on me, because with the manipulation with the weapons that they use on me and with my post-traumatic stress disorder, I would have to force myself not to think about it while I was thinking about it. Every time I would start thinking about it and get infuriated because no one would help. North Carolina does not have a stolen vehicle statute. So if you want to steal a car in North Carolina, I guess they don't have anything they can charge you with. That's what I was told. I go thinking I was going to be a partner in the motorcycle business, take it from nothing to something, making money. And then when the bill got up to be $1,100 he want to pay, then he just says, nope, you're a thief and I'm keeping your motorcycles. And I was like, what? Now that'd be pretty stupid of me to steal money from him. And I don't even know how I would steal any money from him because I didn't have the company credit card. I don't know how that happens. I don't know how you steal money when you can't touch it. But I'm going to have 2 motorcycles and $40,000 worth of tools just sitting there and then steal a little bit of money. That just doesn't compute. So, talked to the police department and sheriff's about it to go to get my bikes. That's when I was assaulted. I went to get my tools and trying to get the tools, my toolbox dumped over in the middle of the driveway. An hour and a half, I had to pick the tools up by myself. I had to load my big toolbox by myself. He gets back from lunch. I get ready to pull out because I don't want to deal with him. I ain't even mad. I'm just getting out. You know what I mean? It's like the 3rd or 4th time that I was taking my things out of that shop because all the drama. So I pull out the road. He walks out, calls me a thief, and punches me through the window, at which point I'm just giving a little synopsis here, at which point I just laugh at him because, for one, it's a punk shot. I mean, if you're going to sucker punch somebody, you ought to knock them out. But to hit me, and I just laughed at him like, are you serious, dude? You're going to hit me with that weak crap? If you're going to hit me, you better knock me out. This is stupid. So I gave him 2 weeks to chill out. I come back 2 weeks later with a sheriff to get my motorcycles. He tries to fight me in front of the sheriff. That's how stupid this dude is. So he just tells the sheriff, I got a mechanic's lien. He owes me money on storing these motorcycles. Well, how are you storing motorcycles when I'm a mechanic there? I had testimony from several people saying that I was partners in that shop, that I was building motorcycles in the shop. I was supplying the shop with parts, tools, lifts. And they just said, oh, it's a civil matter. Just to throw it out, just so they didn't have to do nothing. So then I called the highway patrol, and they investigated, and they said, well, he said civil matter, so he said he worked on your bikes, and that's all we can do, even though I had proof. I had keys to the shop. I want to ask you people in the audience, how many of you, when you take your car or your motorcycles to a shop to get it fixed, how many of you take your toolbox and put it inside the shop? How many Harley owners out there that needs to get your motorcycles worked on? How many of you guys buy a lift and put it in your mechanic shop? Leave your bikes there and your tools there so they can work on your motorcycles. You don't. Why? Because you only take your tools in a shop if you're working in that shop. The cops couldn't put that together. I had every bit of proof in the world. But because I'm a targeted individual, didn't want to do nothing to help me. So, he never responded to the lawsuit. He showed up for court one time, asked for a continuance. The judge gave him a continuance. 30 days lapsed, and he never gave a response because he's dumb. He doesn't know how to do this. He just knows how to steal stuff. So, he defaulted on the judgment back in 2019. I should have had my bikes back in 2019. My lawyer just wouldn't write out the judgment. All he had to do was write down what was owed and the property and turn it in. That's all he had to do for the last 3 years, is just write down what was owed and the property and get a judge to sign it. That's all he had to do. 3 years he did none of that. 6 years to sue to get my motorcycles back. And then I find out another big whammy at the very end is he left off the $1,100 that was owed to me for the labor that I did in that shop. Just forgot it. I had a secretary run through, and the secretary was like, well, it was on there, wasn't it? I said, absolutely it's on there. So he starts digging through the paperwork, trying to find it. He's like, it ain't on this one. It ain't on this one. It ain't on this one. Oh, wait, it's on this one. And it's on this one. It's on this one. It's on this one. He went through like 5 other sheets of paper where it says that $1,100 was right there, owed to me. But my lawyer just didn't write it down. He also neglected to tell me about the next process in getting my motorcycles back. That would be getting a writ of execution for return of property. I had to figure that out on my own. First, I had to give him 30 days to respond to do an appeal to the judge's order, and he didn't, because a lawyer to appeal this case would have been $10,000. You know, when you steal something, nothing comes out of your pocket. He didn't have to spend nothing to steal my motorcycles. Nothing. But guess what I did? I had to pay for the lawyer. I had to pay for the court costs. I had to pay for the filing fee, and then I had to turn around and pay the filing fee again. Then I had to pay a service fee, and then I had to pay another filing fee. Then I had to pay another service fee. So today I spent right at $100. Well, 60 and 25. 61, $85 I spent today on filing fees and 2 separate subpoenas for service for motorcycles that was stolen from me. But the system won't do nothing to help me. It is so disheartening that it doesn't matter what you do as a targeted individual, the world is literally against you. When I tell this story to everybody else, they're like, nah, ain't no way. You mean you can steal two Harley Davidsons and get away with it? Yes! No criminal charges whatsoever for what he's done. They said, oh, if you get a judgment against him, then that should show proof that the judge thought that your bikes were stolen too. What does that mean? Well, are you going to take out, you going to arrest him? No. Like, what? Really? So all you got to do to stay in North Carolina to steal a motor vehicle from somebody is write on a piece of paper the two words, mechanics lien. You don't have to put no number. You don't have to say what it is. Just put mechanics lien on a piece of paper and wave that in the air like you just don't care. And you can steal anything you want in the state of North Carolina. I was sitting back and thinking, the only reason I'm where I'm at today is because me and Mason was going down the road about 6 or 7 months ago, and I just grabbed his hand and I said, let's pray. Because I told you about this guy faking cancer, saying every time he gets to court, he's hobbled over, got a cane in his hand, talking about how he's dying of cancer, and as soon as he gets out of the courtroom, he's back up, ready to rock. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. That's what I'm dealing with here. Somebody that would fake cancer to try to get away with stealing my motorcycles. Me and Mason was sitting in the car riding down the road, and I just grabbed his hand. I said, Mason, let's pray. Let's pray for this man. Let's pray that God, if he's got cancer, God will heal him. Pray that God will put the condemnation in his soul for what he's done. Now, none of that's happened yet. But as soon as I forgave him, it's like my lawyer started doing his job, which makes no sense either. But I did. So the next step now is waiting on the sheriff to call me back for them to go and serve them to get my belongings back. I just pray I get them back. He could just say, F you and keep my Harleys. I was told that if he didn't give them back that they would arrest him, but he stole them in the first place and they didn't do squat. So I don't have a lot of faith in when they tell me we'll arrest him if he don't give them back. Because it could be like everybody else that owes money. You just have a piece of paper that's worthless that says, he owes me money. That's as worthless as an IOU in a court of law. So we'll see. I am not excited about getting my bikes back. I'm not. I'm very fearful about it because I can only imagine the damage done, the pieces and parts they may be in, how many parts and pieces are missing. These were two complete motorcycles. These were two running and driving bikes at that shop. I was only getting ready to start tearing them apart to do a little extra maintenance. They had brand new tires, brand new batteries, and see, those are disposables. You let tires on a bike sit for too long, they'll flat spot, and that bike will never ride good again. You let a motorcycle battery, if you're lucky, you'll last 5 years, and these batteries are $130, $140 a piece, and they're more now. They're close to $200 now for a Harley Davidson battery. So right off the bat, with just believing and praying that he didn't vandalize my bikes, because I'm sure he probably dropped a couple bolts and screws down in my engines. The one engine was like $8,000. It's an S&S 113. In other words, that means S&S means really freaking fast. That's pretty much the best drag motor, high performance Harley Davidson engine you can purchase is an S&S. I know, because I purchased it and helped put it together. So I just got to pray, and guys, if you'll just help me pray to keep me cool and calm during this, and to pray that my bikes come back in the condition I left them in. I'll be documenting that all along the way as well. But I just thank God that finally something's happening. We'll see. It could really go squirrely right here at the end, because I don't trust anybody or anything on this planet, because I'm targeted. I know the devil's going to do everything in his power to make sure that I suffer, and suffer greatly. I'm Stuart Pidlon, the most targeted citizen. Pray for me, pray for my family, pray for your perpetrators. Always pray in what? In Jesus' name. Like, share, and subscribe. Targeted Citizen 3 is the backup channel. Targeted Citizen 3 is the backup channel. We'll be posting there very shortly, full time. I'm Stuart Pidlone. God bless.